Hello, my name's Christopher Tomko. I'm the Information Systems Officer at Archway Station, and this is going to be a quick overview of ASInet. I'm going to be shooting from the hip, so I'm probably going to stutter and stammer and make mistakes, but hopefully I'll give you a better understanding of things and how they work within ASInet. I'm sure most of you already know, but the contact information that's on the screen, of course, is me and my assistant, Mike Montague, and IT help at archwaystation.net, which I recommend you use when you need assistance. That way, whichever one of us is working will be able to help you out. All right, and with that, let's get started. We'll go ahead and open ASInet. And of course, you're always going to want to allow programs, especially ones that I've written, that you know to be safe, and give them access like this. The update, when there's a newer version, just follow the prompts. The announcement screen isn't used as much anymore as it used to be. It does offer when the next payday, or the end of the pay period, occurs, and can also offer a list of upcoming events and things like that. The quick flash you just saw was just a patch that I implemented for an issue with Excel where copy and paste would kind of stop working because of some glitches with the bulletin boards. You can ignore this. This is a test user I'm using, so you'll probably get a password expiration date that's applicable to you. When it first loads, you'll notice on the right hand side there's the information panel. It tells you that the network itself, this is like your connection to Queen Street, the main file server, and the online Outlook.com mail server is on. The old email server you can just ignore. So I'm just going to walk down through the menus. Hopefully I can go a little faster. I don't want to make this too long. You have the file menu up top here. There's some tools here. The new hire database you can ignore. Temp file cleanup, admin tools, all that can kind of be ignored. The only thing that's useful on here, there's also a shortcut, so I'm just going to ignore it from now, so you don't really need to use that. Most of these have shortcuts down below, so the only one that I'll probably cover a little bit might be the help one, but alright. Archway applications. ASInet is an old application. You weren't even here when this was discontinued. However, it does have old information about service users in it, so sometimes that can be useful. This is going to be stuff that's pre-pups. The timesheet, the mileage sheet, the schedule you can ignore. The browser is basically, and then of course you click go. It's just the built-in web browser for ASInet. You don't need to use that. I would just use Google Chrome. Quick view directory creator. If you want to let down here view the latest version of one of the directories, you can read the instructions here. Click the directories, click create. It'll go down through and it'll generate each of the and there's an error. We can ignore that. This is a test machine, so there's probably going to be some buggy things going on with it. But that's pretty much it for the Archway applications. The bulletin boards, I'm not going to open these up either. I think you guys probably know what all's in here. Actually, I went ahead and opened it up anyway. Ignore that. Cancel that. So again, you can go here for the bulletin boards. There's also, if you go up to view, or excuse me, go, There's a bulletin boards list up here too, so just in more than one place. The Help Me section, there's a bunch of things on here. Remote access request. There's also a link down here above the exit. A quick link. If you need assistance, you can use this. Typically, though, you're going to want to make sure that you've talked to Mike or myself first. Otherwise, this will time out. We also use something called Quick Assist now, and we can also connect to your machine through a remote desktop viewer that's part of Avast, our antivirus. So there's multiple ways, but that one doesn't get used a whole lot, but it used to. So again, if you click on that, click go. I'll just show you what it looks like. All right, and it says that an email will be sent. It's going to expire in 30 minutes. So it does create a link that allows me to remote connect. Again, the problem with this is the timeout period, but it can still be useful. And then you just leave this open and wait for the connection and follow the prompts. The next thing is record steps, and this is kind of nice for us, especially if you're working when we're not, and you're having an issue. If you select that, click go, it'll prompt you, click start, wait until status says recording. So if you're having a problem, you can record your problem for us. So all you have to do is click start, and then everything you do on the screen is being recorded now. And that way, if you're having a problem or anything like that, and we're not around, once you hit stop here, it's going to say it's been saved to our capture folder. You just need to let us know. Either give us a call or send us an email and let you know that you recorded something that there was an issue with. And then you can just go ahead and exit out of that. The next thing is reset password. You can also do this with Control-Alt-Delete change password, but it's in here as well. And there's also a link down here for resetting password. And if you hit that, you're just going to get a .NET program that's going to launch. Again, make sure you click Run, because this is an Archway application. And then you'll put your old password. It's just like any other change password screen, but it's there if you want to use that one. And then lastly, the computer procedures. There isn't a lot here right now, but it does give some information about Teams. If you're going to use that, some training on that, how to lock or place the locks at memorial and passage mode. You got to have that enabled in your code, so to a lot of you that won't apply. How to connect to the US cellular hotspot. There's a couple things in there. Common applications. You have Access, Excel, PowerPoint, Word. OMWin won't apply to you because that's a billing software, but again, some of these you can feel free to go down and just kind of explore a little bit, except for the ones I tell you not to, which we'll get to that here in a bit. The directories, you have the Archway pick and phone directory, so if you don't know who someone is, you can type their name and it'll give you a picture of that individual, their phone number, extension, etc. And then you have, like how I had created earlier, the Quick View cell phone. If you go ahead and open this up, and I'm just going to select Chrome for now. And it's just going to show you a list of staff and teams and the respective cell phone numbers. So I'd really prefer you didn't hand this out to anybody. In fact, please do not hand that out to anybody. Now there is a Quick View phone, which is a little different from Tina's regular phone directory. Here's the one that she maintains. And then here's the one that I maintain. It's all up to preference. This one's just name, phone number, and team. Nothing fancy about it, but it's just in a straight alphabetically by first name, which is what I preferred. So. And that's kind of it for the directories. I mean, there's a directory of email addresses, which used to be relevant, not so much now. Map drives, you have the user drive. You have your iDrive. The iDrive is volatile, so information on the iDrive doesn't get backed up. However, if you've got some stuff you don't quite want to delete but you want to hold on to, the iDrive is a good place for it. The G drive, of course, is where you're going to want to put your important stuff. That's where you're going to want to keep stuff that you want to hold on to. That is backed up. The media drive is another drive that is backed up. This is going to have information such as slideshows, trainings, staff together, pictures. And again, you can go down through and explore this whenever you have the time to do so. The privacy drive, that's where all the PHI is located and the team folders. So all that's in here. Who's who at Archway. There's a bunch of things that you can kind of look through. I'm not going to cover all these just for the time it would take to do so. But no, just note there's a lot of folders in there. The V drive, you won't be able to see this unless you're an admin. The W drive, again, for an admin, this is like an archive. And those are the map drives in a nutshell. And of course, if you're somewhat tech savvy or just don't want to use ASInet for that, you can go in here and access those same drives. Personnel policies, when you click on that, you get a list, a generic list. You don't have to use just these. Of course, you can just hit table of contents. And I don't have Office activated on here, so you're probably going to see a message that says I need to activate. But anyway, this is the personnel policies. And then, of course, you can scroll down through and go to whatever applies to you if you don't want to use the... Or if you want personal leave, you can click on personal leave. Well, and in your working version, it should take you right to the one you click on. Again, I'm doing this in an unactivated version of Word that's just not going to let me demonstrate some of this, but these will just take you directly to the headings. Personnel file entry, you should know what that is by now. I'm not going to go into that. Employee leave information. This is where you can check your personal time, sick time, vacation time. Again, Tina probably went over all this with you. I'm fairly confident she did. Employee status change won't apply to most of you. This is just where if an employee changes teams, something like this is where the team leader will go in and make that change. Carematic, this is for the DDA teams. This is their PUPS program. Basically, this is their EHR. Training folder, this is where Tina assembles a bunch of information about various things. And again, you can go in and explore that. There's resources in here that may be very useful to you, so I would recommend just going in and exploring that. Relias Learning, same thing. You click on that. You should be familiar with this by now. We probably all have done enough of these. So close that out. ASO data. This is just basically tracking and utilization that team leaders use to track various things. So for the most part, none of this would really apply to you. One-page phone directory, I already showed you that. Again, there's some redundant links in here, but board packets, if you want to go through and view any previous minutes from board meetings, that's all available in there. The wage continuum, the latest wage continuum, you can view that there. And again, to kind of give you an understanding as I'm going through this, this is basically an easier way to find things on the network. That's its primary purpose, and it adds a few little extra functionality things. Organizational charts, again, you probably won't need to look at that, but if you want to, again, I'm not going to open it. You have the CBSS team 1, 2, 3. All of the teams are here. Like here's ACT. You have an edit folder and a view only folder. Edit is where you can put stuff you want to collaborate or share, with your team. View only is where team leaders or others that are assigned permission to post things in, and then as the name implies, it'll be read only for you. I'm going to jump around here, like I said, a little bit scattered on how I'm doing this, but up here at the top, and this is just a test user, you'll notice current user, computer name, and then your IP address. This can be helpful to me when I ask you, if you're having problems, what's your computer name, what's your IP. So that's what, and this will tell you obviously who's logged in. You're going to want to make sure you're logged in under yourself, because it has happened where someone has jumped on a machine where someone else was logged in, which created a lot of confusion. So that shouldn't happen though, because everybody should log off when they're done. So I'm not going to even say that's going to be a concern. Jumping back down to the quick links, you have resources and public benefits. This is another thing Tina maintains. She tries to keep it updated. She's got a lot on her plate, but very, very good information is kept in here. Very helpful. It's been accumulated over the years. Agency resource numbers. Again, if you want to go in here, this is basically a resource list for service users. Useful, but transportation, that looks really small. It looks like it was last updated in 2020. Anyway, you can go in and explore some of these. Some of these are going to be outdated, unfortunately. Remote desktop server. This one's helpful if you're having a very slow network. You can click on this, and of course, again, you're going to want to say connect. You can even say don't ask me for it, and this nag screen won't come up again. When you hit connect, it's going to prompt you for your credentials, and then you're basically going to log into the remote desktop server. To try to get you to understand that, it's you'll be running a virtual PC that's sitting on a server at Queen Street, so everything you do will be much faster than what you do on your local machine. So by connecting to this, you're going to speed up your experience. Very helpful if you're doing time-consuming tasks. If your timesheet's having problems being submitted, that's definitely a very useful link you're going to want to make note of. Emergency reporting. This is if there's an exposure incident. The critical incident isn't really used anymore. That's been kind of placed into PUPs, but this is the old version if you need to go back and look. I'll open that. Yeah, the program at times is going to register things and do various things. Just let that complete. Then you need to log in. I'm not going to do that. It'll just be your username and password, but it takes you into the program, and you can kind of look around in there. It's pretty self-explanatory. You find the service user you want, the date it was entered, you open it up, and you can read the process. So, and again, a death of a person occurs, There's some disaster resources, things like that. Again, team leader and Tina probably covered this in depth in one or more of the trainings, I'm sure. Missing persons. This will pop up when you open ASInet, so it's a good idea to open ASInet every day, even if you have are more savvy and use this PC, because this will pop up if there's a missing person, a picture. Obviously, someone goes missing, the confidentiality goes out the window because obviously their safety is paramount. So this is where you'll be able to quickly see if someone's missing. Blow the whistle. Tina, I'm sure, covered this. If you believe there's any fraud going on in the agency, you can complete this. You watch a staff person, use a credit card to buy, something for their house, some paper towels or something. I mean, you can basically read through these, click continue, and then type in the information. Then when you submit it, depending on who you select, it'll be copied to the board of directors. Anytime there's fraud, and again, just read down through this. You can take a look at it, just don't go to the submit part. Vehicle accident report. Hopefully you never have to use this, but if you're ever in a car wreck, this is where you can report it. There should be a copy of this in all agency vehicles. I recommend printing a copy and putting it in your personal vehicle. That way, if you're in an accident while you're working, you can use this as a template on what all information you need to obtain. The most important thing, of course, is contact the police. If they refuse to come, basically get the person's information, name, and say you need to document who it was that refused to send an officer. They'll usually send one when you do that, but so that's where that is. Again, hopefully you never have to use it. The suggestions, you can submit one here if you've got an idea. It's anonymous, but if you've got something you'd like to see changed, how the agency does something, you can go into the answer. You can read through the suggestions. Someone wants to bring back the bingo game that we used to have in the newsletter. So the agency newsletter, this basically will take you to the website, or excuse me, it takes you to the newsletter page for the latest newsletters. My apologies. Staff picture slideshow. This is what I mentioned earlier. It's on the M drive, and there's a Joy era and a Lou era in here. Don't have anything with Jim in here. I'm not sure, what's going on with that, but you can take a look at the past. We've got some videos in here of pictures and things like that that happened at these events. So, employee wellness information. This is info about the wellness group, walking routes, just information on. We used to have like a database, a wellness group members that, if you're curious about that, you can inquire with Tina. We used to have raffles for gift cards for those that completed. Well, I'll stop there. Again, we're not currently doing that, but if you're curious about that, Tina would handle that. E-cigarette presentation, that's the kind of thing, things related to your health. Short takes, this stuff's posted on the website, so that's where this will take you. Just basically to the link. This is where the newsletters are posted as well, so annual reports, and then the short takes are here. Just click on the one you want to look at. Short takes are done, of course, by the primarily geared for the service users at the Wellness Center. The maintenance log, this is where you enter in information that you would like taken care of. Something needs fixed, like downstairs bathroom won't flush or plunge, something like that. So that's where that is. You would go ahead in the open slot and enter your stuff in there. and then basically say whether it's urgent or not. Archway forms. Again, forms are buried throughout this. If you know the name of your form, like we already know where that is, but let's say we're looking for something with time in the, and you want to find the forms. Here's all the forms that contain time, timesheet, and it tells you where they are. These are in the old, so the timesheet is not a good example to open from here. I would do that directly from ASInet, but if you want to know a list of all forms, you can just clear that out, hit Find Forms, and then a full list of 460 agency forms are pulled up. So then you can just go down through, and if you find one you want, you click on it. It tells you where that form's located. You can either click on the form to open it up, or you can double click up here, and you can double click up here and it should open up the folder. But again, if you double click on this or click open, it'll open the form. Yeah, this has given me a lot of fits trying to do stuff. The fact that Office isn't activated. So again, I apologize. I told you this is unscripted, so I figured there'd be issues. But that's the form finder. Alright, I kind of goofed up. I was going down through some stuff and I'm not sure where I left off. But the timesheet I've already gone over. The mileage sheet. You have the mileage worksheet and the mileage sheet. I'm going to go over this again in case I missed it. I'm not going to try editing this out, so I apologize. But you enter the date, the day, your odometer reading, which is the last 3 digits of your odometer on your car. Please use your odometer and not your trip odometer. It's just what they really want you to use. So, and then make sure you use tenths of a mile. So you'll print this out, keep a copy of it in your car, and then you'll submit this when you submit your actual mileage sheet. So you start of the day though mileage, like going, let's say, to the Country Club Mall, what your ending mileage is when you get to the mall. Then you bring that ending mileage back here from the mall to Queen Street, what your ending mileage is there, and then if that's the end of the day, you just put the mileage in right here and move it over there. This is brought in because there was some fraud going on and things like that. So if you're wondering why it's a PITA, that's why. But you got to do that first. And then, of course, you can go in and complete the mileage sheet. It wants you to type your name before it lets you do anything else. And it's not going to let me type my name because, again, Office isn't activated. So, but you type your name and the mileage rate will appear there. And then you print this off, and either every week or at the end of every pay period, your team leader will, I think it's at the end of every week is primarily what most team leaders want, so they can review those. Make sure they're accurate because they have a list of where, how long certain trips are to certain locations, and if it looks funny, they'll question it. Check requisition. Not even going to go into that. Primarily not used. You'll know if you need to use it. It's just a simple form. 60-day probation eval, things like that. Again, team leaders primarily are going to use this. If you're a team leader, you've been here long enough, you already know how that works. Performance measures, this is something you can go back and look April 2023, and basically gives you a list of staff turnover, I don't know, how well we did. It's kind of a scorecard for the agency. This is something that we show to CARF to demonstrate how we're monitoring agency operations. Strategic plan. This basically is something that you should be familiar with. So you can open up and read this. The policy itself, the executive summary, course, the summaries are what's changed. There were no changes back then. But anyway, that's where that is. Health and safety, CARF, flu shots. Again, if any of this is important to you, you'll be directed to it. So that's why I'm glossing over a lot of this stuff. Again, I'm just mentioning very briefly on some things. Job descriptions, this just basically opens up the list of job descriptions for the agency, so you can look at that at your leisure. PUPS help, if you click on that, it's going to take you to a list of some videos and instructions and things like that that'll help you out with PUPS. PUPS, if you click on that, it'll just open PUPS, and email, it just opens Outlook Internet Email. It takes you to the login screen. Down here at the bottom, you have Service User Archives, and you shouldn't be going into any of these folders unless you absolutely need to. This is old-time information where before we had PUPS, things were scanned into the system. If you need to go look up a particular service user, perhaps to check on their history or something like that, this is where you would go. Again, don't go here, anywhere in here. Don't explore unless you absolutely need to. So don't open these if you don't need to. That's all I'm going to say about that. Down at the bottom, you have log off computer, turn off computer, obvious restart, lock computer, reset password, which I kind of had shown you. Let's say your map drives aren't there. Go in here, your M drive, your G drive is not there. Sometimes when you log in, that doesn't get processed properly. You can click on Run Login Script, and it just runs the login script again. So that can help fix when you're missing drives. RA request I mentioned before. Record problems I mentioned before. Update printers. This is something you should do on a machine that, especially if it's new. Right now, if you'll notice, the default printer is Microsoft Print to PDF. I don't have any printers on here. So if I need to add them, I can click Update Printers. Again, you want to click Run. It'll bring up the list. I'm at Queen Street. So whatever I want my default printer to be, I'm just going to set it as the lobby. And it'll map all the printers. All the printers are done. Now it's setting the default printer. So now the default printer has been set. This hasn't been updated, but the default printer is the lobby. So if you ever want to check that, you can click down here and it'll tell you which printer is default. And that's about it. Of course, exits out. And I'm going to go ahead and stop there. This has been very long-winded. Hopefully this brief overview has been a little bit helpful. If you do have any questions, of course, by all means, shoot them to IT Help and we'll be happy to help you out. And again, our contact information's on the screen. So thank you for watching and have a great day.